Hey guys, Vinyl Vixen and Slim Shuddy here. We are Rap Sesh, and we are based out of Phoenix, Arizona. And we did the Rocket Lambo Space Jam rap. This rap was done on a Lamborghini Aventador SV, which was a one of 600.
One of 600 SVs out there.
Right. The original paint color was white with some black and red accents. So we ended up going with an Avery SW900 Conformichrome, and we did an Avery satin laminate on it.
We didn't want to just go with a normal chrome because that's been done before.
That's been done before.
This is a little bit more custom.
Yeah, it looks really nice, matches the finish of the wheels real sweet. So we did the base wrap in this, and then we wanted to add something that really kind of showed who we are, and we're all about like the shark mouths and the old school stuff, but also the galaxy is kind of a big thing for the Vinyl Vixen stuff. So we had a custom design red galaxy camo made with Glarb Designs. He's one of our favorite designers that we use, and he's actually over based in Florida. So we do a lot of stuff over video chat and over the phone, and just sending each other pictures and stuff back and forth. So he started our whole render process for us. Got our galaxy designed, and then we also ended up adding in a textured film, which was the Oracal 975 RA Black Honeycomb. So we had a 3-layer wrap going. Oh, this galaxy I didn't even mention.
It's on a satin ghost flip material.
Right, so it's actually on 3M 1080 satin ghost flip, and then it has a gloss laminate. And basically what happens is once you print on there and everything, you kind of get that rainbow sheen. But then it's on a really nice gloss kind of iridescent print. So really took it up a notch as opposed to just printing on a regular film. One of the problems that we really encountered with these films, first off with the Galaxy, when you're printing on a satin base, the laminate doesn't really hold very well to it. So one of the problems we encountered that we weren't really expecting, pretty much once you laid that Galaxy down, and if you were doing any layers on top of it, if any vinyl touched down on that Galaxy and then you lifted it up too hard or quick, it would actually separate the laminate from the print.
And everything held, I mean, it held really well unless you actually stuck something to it.
Right. So even like masking, even masking for like a decal, we put the mask down and then pulling the masking off, we had the issue of it trying to delaminate. So you had to be really, really careful because it wasn't a very good base print, but it turned out so cool. It was worth the extra trouble. Another thing with the Oracal, the Black Honeycomb, it's not super conformable.
It's more than you would think though.
It is nice. I mean, it does conform, but you got to be really careful with your air bubbles. I don't know if we would attempt like a whole bumper in it.
It doesn't really have an air release,
yeah.
So you just kind of have to install it.
Kind of used it for a bunch of accent pieces, but we ended up wrapping like that whole rear diffuser, and that was a really complicated piece.
Mostly all the black plastic that was on that car we ended up wrapping in this.
Right. So all the black plastic we covered in that.
Custom feel to it.
Definitely. And then obviously chrome is very, very thick. It's very easy to scratch. So we definitely took that extra step to laminate it and get it all cleaned up. It makes it a lot easier to install, a lot easier to work with, easier to maintain. You don't get all the scratches. So you don't have to like wet install it or anything like that. We had to make sure we were using our IR heater. You couldn't really use torches with the chrome. You can't really use the normal knifeless tape.
Really well with this because it actually has a white layer in the middle of it, and so when you're pulling that knifeless, it pulls the white layer out, and so you have a white line all the way through.
Makes it super jagged. So we had to do a lot of special cuts on there to make it work. So a lot of these films, they're very hard to work with. We were doing multiple layers on each piece.
And then not only that, we had to disassemble the entire car because the shop before us had disassembled the entire car.
Right. So he brought the car into us already wrapped. It was wrapped in like a black brushed steel, and it was actually funny. He brought it in with finger paints all over the front hood.
Yeah, he said he was going to remove it.
He told me he was going to take all the vinyl off, and instead he decided to finger paint on it, which I thought was really cool. But once we removed the majority of the previous wrap, they actually did a lot of disassembly on that car. I assume they hired a tech to do it, so we actually had to remove quite a bit more than we normally would. Like, you took all the wheels off. What else?
Tires, bumpers,
the rockers, bumpers,
mirrors, handles,
the wing.
Wing.
We had to go into a lot of detail to get off. Even though we didn't remove the doors, there was still a lot of stuff to take off on there, and that car is very, very well put together.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a challenge for Michael. He's never really disassembled an SV to that extent, but he's very, very good at just applying his knowledge to any vehicle. So he really figures figures all that out. We couldn't do it without him. And then the jambs, let's talk about those because we're kind of like, this is one of our specialties is doing these full coverage cars. You know, we don't do them on every single car. It's just certain customers, they want to take it to that next level. Yeah. So we didn't really want to do the jambs in chrome. It's just a nightmare. They're really hard doors. They're the Lamborghini like suicide doors.
But you're gonna have seams everywhere. You just can't install it clean.
We wanted something that was gonna be clean. So we kind of came up with the concept of doing everything on the inside Galaxy. So pretty much on the car, everything that's chrome is, you know, on the outside, and then anything that you can open up, whether it's the doors or the engine bay or under the hood bonnet, it's all Galaxy. And we weren't actually planning on doing under the hood originally. No. And then we started measuring out the car and we were like, well shoot, we're doing the engine bay. We're doing like everything that you could possibly see that's white. We're gonna wrap it. So why would we not do under the hood? Yeah. So we kind of came up with the theory of doing a really cool astronaut. The customer wanted to have George Washington in it. So if you look really close, George Washington is actually in the helmet.
In the helmet.
Yep. He's got like an SV patch on his arm, which is really, really cool. And that once again was with Glarb Designs over in Florida. He does a lot of our really custom stuff and he just
did an awesome job.
Knocks it out of the park every time, honestly. We love working with him. But yeah, so we decided to do that to really just take it up to the next level. So you've got that hood mural underneath. You've got the Galaxy door jambs when you open up the doors, and then we did the entire engine bay in Galaxy as well as the rear window, which most of us in the shop, we couldn't even reach it.
It was pretty hard to get to.
It was really, I mean, you were like bent over. I couldn't even touch it, so I didn't have to do it, thank goodness. So one of the problems we encountered with doing our, what do you call it? A hood still, it's under the hood.
The bonnet.
The bonnet mural underneath. There was a lot of metal cutouts. What would you call that?
Yeah, they're just the actual exoskeleton frame that makes the hood rigid. They have little cutouts to kind of relieve. I'm not sure if it's to deal with taking weight off the car or just, I'm not even sure why they're there. But what we did was to cover those instead of having just the material bridge over, because over time, you know, the material can crack or it can really get poked a lot or something.
Right, and out here you have to consider the heat. Arizona, the heat's so extreme.
It'll just gum right through it.
Right.
And so what we did was we were thinking about it and we came up with throwing little pieces of clear bra over those pieces, which really the clear bra is, you know,
4 times thicker.
Yeah. And so that's really going to keep that, you know, that bridge from being able to be poked through.
Right, so we ended up covering all those cutouts with PPF. I mean, there was over 30 little cutouts. And then we wrapped the entire thing. And just the process of doing that, doing the hood and getting the chrome all the way around and pinned down and making it look really clean on the outside and the inside with all those intense angles and corners was definitely a challenge. I mean, that hood's got like 12 or 14 corners on it. It's not 4 corners.
Yeah, it's not a normal hood.
And you're trying to wrap with chrome, and chrome just really isn't good for corners. It doesn't make corners nicely. So you really got to take everything off and go around if you really want it to stay down and have that long-lasting effect and look clean. And for us, like, clean is the most important thing on our wraps, is having a clean, long-lasting product. The customer came in 2 or 3 times just while we were working on it to check it out, and a lot of customers that came in to see the car while it was here was like, oh my gosh, like, why are you taking it apart that much? Why would you do that, you know? But then the customer comes in and he's like, man, I just really love seeing it like this. Like, I love seeing the extent you guys go into. I love seeing it all broken apart. Like, it makes me feel comfortable with you guys and seeing all the work that you guys go into. And what was really crazy with that car is I mean, we've done Lamborghini Aventadors and we've done those kinds of cars and full coverage wraps, but you've never taken one apart to that extent.
No, that was the first for sure. And I've taken hundreds and hundreds of cars apart, but just never an SV. So it was a new car for me. And I have new cars come in all the time that I've never taken apart.
But you're able to always apply your skills to it.
Yeah, you just, I mean, every car is technically put together the same way in their own way. So they're just, you know, you take that knowledge and you apply it and you can figure it out. I mean, it's all just nuts and bolts, no matter how high the price tag is. Well, I mean, this car technically, I mean, everything about this car is level expert. Like
I mean, your materials are all level expert. We had problems with every single one, different sorts of issues to deal with each sort of material.
Each material was actually pretty difficult to work with because this one not only was a print, it was laminated on already a laminated material, so it's a really thick material. This one was also laminated, so this
Very
is also
thick.
very thick. Which
Have to work
chrome
with
is already
multiple
thick in the
people.
first place. And this is also a thick material that's very
Not
hard to
meant
work
to
with.
conform.
So all of these materials are,
they're already really difficult.
they're very difficult to use.
And then you throw it on a very, very high-end car with a lot of hard angles.
Yeah.
That's another hard thing. I mean, just wrapping that car in a regular material is hard. Trying to do it in chrome is just another story. And a lot of other shops, they don't know how to install chrome, or they only sell it as a temporary kind of wrap or something. And we really took it above and beyond and still wrapped around everything and broke it all down so it would last.
I was able to do mostly everything without seams.
Right, we were able to do a nearly seamless install. Even the door jambs with the doors attached on still, it was a single piece that we did inside the whole door jamb. And getting into that area is, I mean, really, really hard. It's a really tight spot. You're like under the door and just all pretzeled weird. And I mean, just the door jambs alone took a day. A lot of the panels, there were multiple layers. So it'd be like a chrome layer with Galaxy on top of it and hex, and you know, so you're doing 4 or 5 layers on each individual panel, and every single surface that you could open up and get into was wrapped. Like, you're not gonna see where the paint, you don't see any white anywhere.
Other than a couple white bolts.
Other than white bolts. That's really the only way you could tell that this car was white. So we really like taking something and transforming it and just going way above and beyond people's expectations of what kind of coverage you can do and what kind of, you know, what vinyl's capable of. And we like to push the limits of the capabilities of the vinyl and the capability of the coverage. And I think that's really what we kind of specialize in, is pushing it above and beyond and kind of testing the limits. So if you guys want to keep up with more of our custom projects throughout our shop, make sure to follow us on social media. We do Facebook and Instagram. That's Vinyl Vixen Wraps and Wraps/AZ is our shop page. And hopefully we can bang out some really cool wraps here over the next year.
Hopefully we got some cool ones
blow you
coming
guys
up.
away for sure.
And you just gotta wait and see.
You just wait and see.
Yeah.